Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for July 14th, 2025. We will start with roll call, but I will remind commissioners to speak into the microphone so everyone can hear.
Roxy Deer,
Present?
Tina Conti,
Present.
Josh Imhoff,
Present.
Megan Ripperger,
Present.
Kamea Edwards,
Present.
Damon Jacobson.
Present.
All right, we will move to approval of minutes from the June 9th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion on the floor. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we will move to new business. We have a certificate of appropriateness requesting a permission to demolish a structure viewable from the public right-of-way in Richmond's Linden Hills Conservation District at 1907 East Main Street. I'm going to invite the petitioner to come forward to speak to their request.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Mr. Cruz. I've requested to go ahead and demolish the property. It's always been our plan. The property, actually, when we purchased the property, the garage had been sitting in disrepair for quite a few years. But I did have to kind of make some different decisions with made it where we couldn't eliminate it just yet. The plan was actually to start next year, but in light of some requests from the city, we went ahead and moved to go ahead and do it this year.
Does the commission have any questions for the petitioner?
I don't, but I'm going to recuse myself from the discussion as per being a neighbor to 1907 East Main.
Thank you.
I have a question. I believe the information stated that there might be another structure replacing the structure that's to be demolished.
Yes,
Do you have
ma'am.
any other details on that?
Yes, ma'am. We wanted to, and we've always wanted to actually the garage itself was not built with the house. As you can tell from the older picture, it was a different garage then. The garage was put up in about the 1950s, I believe. But it's just basically, when I brought somebody in to see if we could even repair it, it was told to us that it looked like it had, the mortar had rotted and didn't think that it would support the weight of a new roof. So therefore, we went with the prospect of demolition. But the plan is to basically leave the pad because we do intend to possibly do a two-car garage that's more in the colonial style of the house itself, and to include matching colors of the house. But that's what the future holds.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. At this time, we will open the public hearing for the certificate of appropriateness for 1/2025. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak in opposition of this petition? You can come on up. Hi.
My name is Robert Emenegger. You might remember me from previous hearing recently. And once again, I'll start off with saying demolition is not much of a conservation strategy. My wife and I have lived in that house at 2001 East Main. I've looked at that garage every day that I've driven out of my driveway. And in the last 25 years, and there has not been one effort to maintain that garage. Now, is it beyond repair? Absolutely not. As an example, I'll use is when we purchased our house, my garage that sits directly across from that garage had only 3 walls standing, a 10-foot hole in the rear, no roof from a burned out car, and no driveway. I took it upon myself to salvage that structure, and I cleaned it out, repaired the cracked wall. It had one good Carnegie beam, I-beam, old Carnegie steel I-beam across the middle. And I put a flat roof on it, I put a rubber roof on it, I repaired all the brick, I put a new driveway in, and I brought pictures if you'd like to see it, but it was a wreck, and now it's a really nice structure. And that structure could be too, with not near what I had to spend on it. Concrete mortar, that's on a block, it's a semi-block structure. It's sitting on a concrete block with poured cement over the top of it. There is some that's spalled off, but that can be repaired. I've done it many times at my house. But it's water damage, and it came from when there was a dumpster in the alley, and when they used to flip the dumpsters out, and it wrecked the eave on that one side. And then it was just left go, and the whole thing's just been left go. And I don't have any animosity against my neighbor, but, he at one time had his own home repair business. He advertised it, on Facebook. And I was just dumbfounded as why there was no effort ever putting into that structure. And so that's why I'm opposed to it, because I know it can be saved. I'd even buy it and do it myself. I had to buy half of my garage because my property line, the property line went right down the middle of my garage, and I had to wait for a neighbor to show up that would sell me their half and then have it resurveyed, and that's how I got this garage on that property. And so I know it can be saved, and probably at a lot less cost than to put up a whole new structure. And so, yeah, I know there's a comment made that, oh, it'll look like more period of the structure, but we don't have that at this moment. We don't have a plan, and a guarantee that it'll be that way. And I just don't want to look at a vinyl-sided, modern type structure, or no structure at all. It might just end up being a pad for the rest of its life. And also, I discovered this because I came out to work one day and there was a backhoe parked unloading in that driveway. They were going to tear it down that day without notifying anybody, and I would think that Mr. Cruz knew this was a conservation district, because he used to work for the city. He used to work in this building. And so I'm like, it doesn't need to be torn down. That's why I'm so emphatic about this, because all the effort that I've put into my property, and I just spent $10,000 to replace every sidewalk and step on my property. I want this to look, good, and I want it to maintain its historical significance. And so that's why I'm here today. So I just wanted to share that, but that's all I have to say, really.
Any questions?
But it can be saved, because I did it myself to mine. I know mine was a lot worse. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in attendance who would like to speak in opposition to this petition? Okay. We will now move to our report from planning staff. Dustin, you have a report you'd like to share?
Thank you. COA 1-2025 is the petition of Jackie Cruz, owner and agent, located at 1907 East Main Street in Richmond, requesting a certificate of appropriateness approval for the demolition of a structure viewable from the public right-of-way in Richmond's Linden Hill Conservation District. The use is a detached garage. The zoning is urban residential. It's also within the Neighborhood Transition Overlay District, and the year bill is approximately 1930. The applicant is requesting approval for the demolition of an accessory structure, a garage, in the rear yard of the property. I'll go ahead and read the property history into the record here. The Free Classic House located on the subject property was built in approximately 1895 by famed 19th century Richmond architect John Hazacoster. Hazacoster and his family lived in the home, which the Wayne County Interim Report identifies as contributing until approximately 1920. Richmond's 1909 Sanborn map, along with the image on the following page, which was on the screen a moment ago, indicates the outbuilding was constructed around the same time as the home. However, the style and positioning of the original structure differs from the garage that is currently under consideration for demolition. Gunty Atkins at the Wayne County Surveyor's Office shared that he is confident that the current garage was built after Hazacoster sold the property in 1920, and county parcel records suggest that the existing garage was built around 1930. In April 2025, Richmond's Code Enforcement Division responded to a complaint about the condition of the garage and cited sections of Richmond's building code related to maintenance and safety that were being violated by the structure. Upon a follow-up inspection in May, code enforcement issued a $100 fine and proposed that the property owner, Mr. Jackie Cruz, either rehabilitate or remove the structure or be subject to additional fines. Mr. Cruz at that time went through the appropriate channels to receive a wrecking permit to demolish the structure. This permit was initially mistakenly issued, but this error was caught prior to demolition, so Mr. Cruz has now initiated the COA process to permanently remove the structure. July,
I have a question there. So it was, he applied for a wrecking permit and it was issued by,
by my department, and we have
you.
since addressed that.
Thank-
'cause
thank you.
That shouldn't have been addressed, yeah. On July 3rd, 2025, I should say 35 adjacent property owners were notified about the COA applications and the July 14th meeting by mail, and I believe we received 3 responses.
Adam Rising, 1900 East Main Street, in favor. Robert and Mary Kretschmer, 37 South 19th Street, in favor. Pornpon Reyes and Pornsiri Reyes, 37 South 20th, Richmond. We are writing in response to your letter regarding the proposed demolition of the old building at 1907 East Main Street, Richmond, Indiana. We believe that removing these structures will help improve the overall aesthetics and view of the area and could contribute positively to the neighborhood's development. Thank you for considering public input on this matter. Sincerely, Pornpon Reyes.
Thanks, Monica. On July 7th, 2025, local media outlets were notified about the public hearing. Staff recommends approving the request to allow the demolition of a structure viewable from the public right-of-way in the, I should say, Richmond's Linden Hill Conservation District, and based on consideration of the following criteria from the HPC's Rules of Procedure. Number 1, historic and architectural significance of the building. The subject garage is not original to the house, as built in 1895 and was likely built after John Hazacoster sold the property around 1920. County property records estimate the garage was built in 1930. Although the garage is roughly a century old, its historic and architectural significance is, as far as I can tell, limited. Number 2, importance of the building to the theme of the district. The Linden Hill Conservation District is comprised of several architectural styles and eras, including Queen Anne, American Foursquare, dormer front bungalow, and, in the case of the home located on the subject property, Free Classic, among other styles. Similarly, the district's accessory structures vary in architectural styles. The subject structure is a classic hip-roofed garage that does not contribute significantly to the conservation district's broader architectural integrity or historic character. Number 3, improbability of reproducing a building or structure because of its design, material, texture, or architectural details. The structure could conceivably be reproduced so long as the structural design and construction of the building satisfies current building codes. Number 4, whether or not the building is one of the last remaining examples of its kind in the area. The structure is one of roughly 3 or 4 hip-roofed detached garages located within the Conservation District, which can be found both north and south of East Main Street. Number 5, whether or not there are definite plans for reuse of the property after demolition and what effect those plans will have on the district. The property owner states that they plan to keep the building's foundation and electrical line with the intention of constructing a new accessory structure, either a shed or a new garage, in the same style of the house as part of their broader plans for improving their property. Number 6, state of disrepair or lack of stability within the building or structure. The structure is in a state of disrepair, including extensive damage to the roof. In April 2025, Bill Henry from Richmond's Code Enforcement Division alerted the property owner that the condition of the garage violated at least 2 provisions of the city code with regard to structural stability and upkeep, advising the owner that they would be subject to fines if they did not repair or remove the structure. Number 7, feasibility of the building or structure being capable to produce an economic return on its value. The property's 2025 property record card indicates that the garage has an assessed value of $7,700. This is, of course, an auxiliary structure on the property and is unlikely to produce a significant economic return based on its condition. And number 8, whether or not alternatives to demolition have been considered. The property owner states that they completed a survey of the garage to explore the possibility of replacing its roof, reinforcing its walls, and installing a new door. They were advised, however, that the concrete/block integrity would not support the weight of a new roof, and that the concrete appears to have molded. Additionally, the owner states that the survey indicated that additional issues and costs were likely to arise during the improvement process and ultimately opted to demolish the garage. There are no rent commitments, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you all might have.
Hearing no questions, I will open the discussion among commissioners about the vote.
I think I understand the gentleman who is opposed to its concern about what will go in place of the structure if it is demolished. And considering this is a part of the conservation district that is rebuilding something, is that also under, would it have to go under?
Yes, if a new structure is built here, that would also be a separate COA that would have to come before the commission prior to receiving the permits.
Not as much, but thank you for confirming.
Thinking about that, is there any type of action that can be taken prior to that to make sure that something is built? Before approving any demolition?
There would probably be ways that the HBC could include a condition that, plans have been shared or construction has commenced prior to, 1 year, 2 year, whatever timeline you wanted to choose. But you could add conditions that would then say that, if the construction has not begun, at that point, the property owner would be subject to fines of some kind. And if that were a route that you all wanted to go, it would probably be a good idea to then check with the petitioner to see if he's, on board with progressing.
Even though I don't have a vote in this, I do have a question. I think it was my understanding that along with the conditions of it being rebuilt, that they could also add to it that it had to be in a certain likeness and fit a certain structure design that matches with the historic or the conservation district, correct?
That could be added as a condition as well. And that would similarly be assessed when they would hypothetically come back for a COA as well. But
Okay, thank you.
Well, and as I understand it from our petitioner, you've already expressed that you're interested in replacing the building with a like building to the original structure. So, right, so I'm thinking maybe just to, with your permission, just to go ahead and talk about attaching that to settle the additional concerns that their building was not replaced and approve it upon that condition. Is that something that seems that a reasonable thing to ask at this time?
You want the plans in advance?
I don't
Can
think
you-
we need the plans in advance.
Would you mind coming to the microphone so we can make sure this is all documented? And ask the question again.
So I was just asking if it is acceptable to you to go ahead and add to this that you will replace it with a like structure. I don't believe at this time we would need the plans because at the time that you build the structure, we would have to approve it. But just for this moment to just, let's go ahead and say that you plan on replacing with a like structure and we can attach this to the demolition plans at this time.
Yes, we do plan to replace with a like structure.
Yeah, I figured we'd just get it answered so we can put that to bed. We can attach it and move forward.
I'd like to say additionally, if anybody really has questions, we actually have a Facebook page that I started when I was working here at the city. And it says Give Old Homes New Life. And actually the construction and things that we've done inside really just don't really kind of relate what's on the outside. But that's just something we've been working to over time. That's the reason I work. other jobs to make sure I can afford to do what I plan to do.
I understand.
That makes sense.
What was the name of that page again?
Give old homes new life. You should still be able to find it on Facebook. I know I shared it when I was in the seat here.
My feeling is the photo from the Dalby book shows like a wooden barn structure in the back. And this, the current structure might not, go with the architectural style of the current one. I don't see it like historic, like it leaving isn't, like the current structure gets demolished. It doesn't really take away any of the contribution of this plot to the historic district. I am wondering if current zoning code, like could a structure be built where it is distance from the alley especially? And would it have to exit onto the alley or could it exit onto 21st Street?
The 20th Street.
Or 20th Street?
I'd like to answer. There's already a cutout in this street on the street itself. So there's already a driveway and everything for it. So it wouldn't be, a new cutout would not be required to get it approved.
As far as zoning goes, there's kind of it's in the weeds a little bit, but there's a provision to where if the subdivision was platted, I think it's, 100 years ago or more, that you can average out the surrounding setbacks. So if this were a new build, that garage would be in violation of the setbacks. But if you look, down the alley, you can see that there are several accessory structures along these alleys that have.
They could recreate a accessory structure using that same footprint or approximately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from commissioners? I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Are you asking to put in,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend this to put in a provision that we're going to build a new structure to replace the existing structure.
Do we want to put a time frame in as part of the condition?
Do you have a time frame in mind that you plan on replacing the structure?
The plan was this next year is when we're going to do the roof itself. So we've already got a plan and looking for contractors to do the overall roof of the original property. And then that property of that additional structure would be included in what we're doing with the roof itself.
Okay, so you're thinking by the end of 2026 that the structure would be completed?
2026, 27.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you have enough time to do it so that we put
We're
in.
looking at next summer, so
Can-
hopefully we get a contractor. And it might be some relative to the contractors that actually came out and did the survey on the garage. They had a really good plan and said they could do the work, but they said they're the ones that advised against trying to do it because the roofing probably would not, the structure would not support putting new roof on.
So when do you feel comfortable putting a date that the construction would be completed by, just to make sure that, you're comfortable with what we put in here?
Well, if we start in the spring of 26, which is right now roughly the plan, spring, summer timeframe, I would assume we could probably have it done by the fall. But that's just my guess. It'll depend on the contractors and see what they can do.
Would probably suggest, just given the variabilities involved in construction, that maybe the petitioner should return with plans by a certain date, that should be the kind of next.
Okay.
step.
so return with plans within 1 calendar year for this project?
Yeah, either
yes, I
by
can.
or before.
Yeah, that or before. And then, does that,
Yeah, and then at that point, if you wanted to add additional conditions for construction, you could consider that.
Fair enough. That works.
all right, so we have a motion on the table to approve the COA request with a condition that we have plans back within 1 calendar year for the new build. I will need a second for that.
Second.
Thank you. All right, and then we will need a roll call for commission to vote.
Roxy Deer,
In favor?
Tina Conti,
Recused?
Josh Imhoff,
Favor.
Megan Ripperger,
In favor?
Maya Edwards,
In favor?
Damon Jacobson.
In favor.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we do not have anything else on the agenda tonight, but I do want to open it up for commissioners to share anything that they would like to share to the audience. Updates or things they would like to recognize? All right, hearing none, I will need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Need a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You are watching Whitewater Government Television, WGTV, Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.